I think that this deck will be just what you want it to be and what you will get from the uh, snow payoffs. So, and this is my personal feeling about it. I'm a really big fan of the Ice High Troll in this particular type of deck
Yep.
because I think that this card is going to be. This is going to be the card that will just basically stall the game out, and you can actually get the quality cards on board in the time when opponent is afraid of attacking into it because it becomes a 4/3 indestructible creature. So I think that this is going to be, if you can wield those and you can get 2, 3 of them, and if you can get your density of the snow-covered lands, you're in a good.
Right.
So basically, two snow mana is not going to be excessive if you have 9 to 11 snow lands, and plus you can get the glitter. Is it glittering frost?
Yeah, this glittering
The
frost. Maybe.
which gives you 2 snow mana basically, which gives you activation of that from
Right.
one non-snow covered land. Basically.
So maybe to reiterate, because this is not very obvious, I think, for newer people. So
Yeah.
you can glittering frost a regular basic land, right? And then that land suddenly
Yeah,
generates 2 snow mana
because it becomes a snow
permanent.
land,
Right.
and then every mana that is given by a snow permanent is snow mana. So basically, you tap it for 2 mana. Therefore, both of this mana is snow covered, snow mana.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And it's
glittering.
important to say, okay, could you maybe show the Ice Hype Troll? Because
Sure. Sure.
maybe people do not know it, but it's basically 3 mana, 3/2, and for 2 mana it gets +2/+0 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it, which is basically you. People think it's at least some people that I've heard think it's quite a good aggressive creature. I think it's an excellent defensive creature. You just stay with it, leave the 2 mana open, have some instants to play at the end of the turn, like Behold the Multiverse. If they attack into it, just activate it. It becomes a 4/3 or maybe even 6/3 indestructible creature. You know, if you have 4 snow mana untapped, they will target it with removal. You give it indestructible. Okay, they tap it, mind you. They will be able to attack for this turn, but they waste the card for that. If you have a couple of them, there's not much they can do. So this is a great barrier, and 4 damage means that they will remove almost everything from the aggressive decks. And later, when you actually turn the corner, they become a solid attacker because they can become 8/3 indestructible creature. Now deal with it.
Yeah.
And also, the threat of activation is great on that thing.
I agree, right? Because you mentioned that it is a fine attacker, right? You attack with it as a 2/3. If they block it, you threaten to make it a 4/3 indestructible. If they don't block it, you just deal 2, go on with your life, right? Cast your regular
Oh
spell.
no!
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, right. You were planning to cast that spell anyways, and they gave it to you, 2 damage added as a bonus for free, right? Vatvos mentions that you need to be pretty heavy snow before this card stops being bad, which is why he assumes that you can wheel it.
Yeah,
I sort of agree, but I think most of the green decks are heavy snowish in a sense, right?
I think that at least in the early season, you probably should prioritize the lands and then hope for the rewards to wheel.
Right.
Because people will underestimate how difficult it is to get the lands. Or you will be in the right pod where people are not drafting snow and then you will get rewarded in pack 3. You know, it's been quite a lot of that in the recent years when it happened like that with cycling. Very often you went on the pod of Ikoria and then you open Zenith Flare and you draft some cycling, but it doesn't come together. And you sort of half abandon it and then pack 3 just everything. Because it means 3, 4 people tried to get cycling decks. They failed, they switched to something else, and in pack 3 there's no one to pick up the cycling payoffs, and if you're still there standing, just take all of them. And it's been the same with guilds, with Ravnica Allegiance Gates deck. Very often I was like speculatively picking,
Picking the gates.
you know, Colossus, Ram here,
Yeah.
and I was having them. I was not even drafting a Gates deck, and then all of a sudden I picked like 10 Gates in the last pack. Because I already had my deck, I just missed the Gates, and I just picked every gate that was there, and the deck came together. Happened quite a lot, and you can get this rewards like this.
Right.
But very often, if you focused on payoffs for gates, and mind you, there's many more payoffs for snow than there were for gates. If you focus on the payoffs and you didn't take the gates and you left them till the second half of the pack, you got nothing because someone else picked all the gates and you're left with two Colossuses and 3 gates, and they are not really great in that situation.
No, no,
So I
I
would
agree.
probably go for early land picking, especially like the dual lands in the Sultai and Timur. I would probably pick them quite highly because you will always have something in Sultai and Timur.
Right. So that only leaves the black. No, not even the black white land. That is all the dual lands, right? I was
No,
thinking.
no, the black white, the red white, they are maybe less of
Oh, you
a
wouldn't
draw for
take
you.
them
Yeah,
because they have a off color half basically.
I would
Oh,
still
okay.
take them.
Yeah, I would
I would
still
still
take
take
them.
the white red land because I might play red because I might get the
Right.
and
That's
I
my.
cannot read the name because you covered it strategically. But
Which one? Which
the
one?
the
The Highland Forest.
Svella Ice Shaper.
Oh, where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because it's an amazing card for snow deck. It's fantastic. It makes its own snow monoliths. I mean, what else do you want?
It's great. It's great, and it's a very strange card to see in Gruul. I think it's
This card is, I mean, it's just, if you can make a deck that predictably survives the late game, this is just going to win every single time. Because it makes 2-3 monoliths, you get to 8 mana range, and then you can just pick from 4 cards what you want to play for free.
yeah, sounds sick, right?
Yeah.
I can.
So obviously it's not only about snow, you will need to fill it in with some other things, but I think that most of the uncommons I put in here were snow ones, but mainly because I wanted to showcase the snow. And we have the Narfi, the Betrayer King, like in the previous deck. I think it's way better here.
I agree. Yeah.
It's just going to be fantastic here because it fits to the theme.
Yeah, we're
Then I
playing.
have the Spirit of Olderguard, which is this card is so good in snow. I mean, so good in snow
It's good outside
because it's
snow, right?
Vince's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's a fine card outside snow, and it's insane inside snow. I would say.
yeah. No, I mean the fixing capability if you want to play a 4-color deck is just insane. I mean, because sometimes you will get stuck with the few source of one color, but you can just get exactly the land that you want and play it on the next turn and play the thread that you were missing probably 3 turns later because they will come in tapped, but it's still great. Now, Binding of Old Gods is just such a good card. I put it in this archetype, even though it's not even in its colors, but it's just such a good card.
Yeah,
And
and it also
and the fact that it
highlights.
brings forest.
Right,
It brings forest.
and it also highlights the fact that this is the archetype that you can splash in rather easily, right? So I think
Oh yeah,
it's.
no,
I
no.
think it's. You would.
I think I did it on purpose that I put the cards from different colors into this skeleton because I think that this shows what this skeleton should be. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be sticking with its own colors. It should explore the other ones, especially that you're going to draft off-color lands. The duels, snow-covered duels, are forests, so the Binding of the Old Gods is pretty useful
Yeah.
for bringing those
For example,
into
the
play as well.
Fine White Wood.
The Rhinewood Falls or the Woodland Chasm or the
Highlight Forest. You're all fetchable with spirit. Yeah.
yeah. So
And
I
with the
put
binding.
this one as an uncommon. Svella Ice Shaper is amazing, and I think that it can be also in some kind of a Gruul snow themed deck with probably most green cards, but some red will also be quite useful in there.
Yep.
But it's a great card. I will try to play it as much as I can because I think 2/4 for 3 mana is great. The ability is fantastic. It ramps me, and even if they kill me after I ramped for once, I'm quite happy with it. Then I put Jorn, the god of winter, because that's the thing that you should put in the snow deck, but I'm pretty sure that almost every powerful green and blue and red and
Black.
yeah,
You're basically
I think
playing.
that this deck will accommodate all those pack 3 powerful rares that no one can play, but you can because you are 4 colors at that stage, and very often you will be playing them and they will be your sort of like top cards in the deck, even though they are not in your colors. Similar to some 5-color archetypes in Theros Beyond Death, when you could capitalize on drafting 5-color mana base early in the draft and getting rewarded by powerful rares in pack 3 when people are just so much in their lane that they're picking the last cards that fit their deck, and you can just pick every rare that doesn't.
I like
So
it.
that's quite useful. But I
Definitely.
put Yorn because it showcases the synergy.
Right. It's untapping snow permanent. It's
And I think that I have one mistake in uncommon slot here. I put Avalanche Collar, but I think it's a mistake. I think I should put the 1 mana 1/2 that for 1 snow mana can tap and draw you a snow permanent if it's on your top of your deck.
Oh right. I know which one you mean.
I
That's
think
not
that this is better for the deck. It's not here, but I think I should put this one instead of the Avalanche Collar. Avalanche Collar is the guy that makes 4/4 elementals out of your snowlands for 2 mana. I think that drawing cards is a more powerful effect in this type of deck um, than making 4/4 land elementals, because if it comes together, I don't think I'll be short on finishers. I might be short for card advantage.
But this also threatens to have a 4/4 blocker, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I think in a sense, um, if you have enough instant speed spells, this is also a way of defending yourself. I think.
It's definitely a good card, but I think if I could make my perfect skeleton, I probably would have substituted this one with the card draw guy.
Yeah. Right.
It's a minor thing. And there's the Blizzard Brawl, which is oh, hi Dom.
You know Dom. Thanks for the follow, Dom.
Oh,
And
Dom.
thanks for
Dom is my teammate, so yeah, I do know him quite well.
teammate in the sense.
Teammate in the we played at Team GP together in the team. Yeah.
Sweet.
And he abandoned me, so thanks Dom for abandoning me in Cornwall and moving somewhere different. But I'm glad that you can join on Twitch. But I'll get you for that abandonment. I'm looking at you right now.
Nice to have you here, Dom. Thanks for joining us. Okay.
Oh, Dominic, should I tell you the story how you became late on the GP and we got a game loss because of that?
So
maybe some other time.
You guys were team sealed buddies then?
It was Team Modern. My first and only Modern tournament in my life, and hopefully last, because I didn't like the format. It's way too much learning. It's so much study. But that's why I stick to limited. Thing I know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think if you know the 3 or 4 most common Modern decks, you can manage, right? And most of the decks are so linear that as long as you know your own deck, you can manage as well. I think. I think learning standard is way harder.
But,
I think
yeah, no, I think that
because you need to know way more interactions in standard, I think, than in modern. There's way less.
I think I practice against 4 or 5 most common archetypes in modern, and I played against 0 of them in the tournament in 8 rounds.
Yeah,
I played a couple of mirror matches. That was it. But
so you at least knew the opponent's deck during the mirrors, then Sierko.
But we might lose the limited people by talking about constructed, which at least I hate with all my blood.
Sure, we'll stick to the
Blizzard Brawl is just Blizzard Brawl is just a great. It's just a great card. Point. You will almost always have it active in your deck, and it kills something, and your thing doesn't die, and then it can still attack with 1 extra power, which is great. So, and it's for 1 mana, so that's really nice. But I also put one struggle for Skemfar, because especially with Ice Height Trolls, the fight spells are quite good, because you can foretell the struggle, play it for 1 mana next turn, and then give your Ice Height Troll indestructibility and kill something if need be. And make them bigger for the next time when you can start attacking with them. They become, 5/4s are way better than 4/3s.
Yeah, for sure.
You can activate them. And then the deck is completed by ramp. So Sculptor of Winter is playing an important role, especially when you can, sneak out the Glittering Frost. Then all of a sudden they can ramp you quite a lot of mana, and then you can do all your shenanigans.
Right, because then that suddenly makes 4 mana, right? 2 times 2.
Yeah, exactly. And this deck probably wants to play something like a classic constructed mid-range deck, which means it wants to have cards in its hand and just never run out of playing things, and there is not too many lands for this deck. So that's why you have things like Svella, which is a great mana sink for later game. That's why you have things like Behold the Multiverse that will allow you to draw cards later. You have Narfi, which you can attack and then reanimate every turn, and then you can burn off the mana. You will always have something to do, so you were never shy on using mana. I
Yeah.
still play 17 lands, but it probably could play 18 in some variants if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bergstrider is really good in this deck because you can cheat it out earlier, and it allows you to stabilize. This is the card that you want to have in this deck because it will always be active. It will always tap something out, put a significantly sized blocker, and from then on you can start doing your things. And also, this is the reason why I put 2 Seraph Packmates, because they trade very well. They will kill most of the things, and they will draw you a card which will fuel you. So this is in a way the same deck that the blue-green kicker was in Zendikar, where if you listen to some of the Black podcasts, you know. If you don't, please do listen because it's amazing. According to him, blue-green kicker, the most important card was field research, because you wanted to have cards and you killed your opponent with swamping them with card advantage and mana advantage. And Seraph Packmate is exactly that. It allows you to get more cards. It combos with Behold the Multiverse, and it will stop them from attacking. And then after some time, you will get such a big advantage on board that they will not be able to deal with it, and your Ice Height Trolls will just start wreaking havoc in them.
Fair. I like it. I think this is
love it. I'm looking forward to drafting it.
Right, this seems one of the stronger archetypes going in, right? Especially one of the archetypes that have the most flexibility, are able to play the strongest cards, I feel.
Yeah. And that's why I tell you, you have to draft snow decks even if you're not snow.
Right, because you have to make this deck less stronger, right? Especially in pot play. Yeah,
Because if the payoffs are going to wheel, this deck is going to be a monster. Because that lets you pick the snow-covered forests or whatever snow-covered lands early at low cost, because you know you're going to be rewarded in the second half of the pack when you are picking all those unplayable snow cards that no one can pick because they cannot afford the double snow activation costs.
What are those unplayable snow cards in this deck then? Because we mentioned that a couple of times, right? But are they there?
Yeah, I mean,
Narfi is not going to wheel, right? Probably.
It's not playable outside of snow, because
Correct.
3 snow is impossible to activate unless you have like 9 to 11 sources. And even with that, it's tricky.
Correct.
You probably want to have 12. Ice Height Troll is not very great when you have 4 snow lands in your deck.
No, for sure.
That's just a 2/3. There, the 2/2 flyer for 4 mana with 2 snow mana activation to become a 4/4.
The black one. It's not in this deck, right? But I remember the one.
It's not in this deck, but
the flying trample one. The flying trample in common one. Yeah.
It will be happy to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, the card that draws snow permanent off the top, if you reveal the snow permanent off the top, that's unplayable outside of a heavy snow deck.
Yeah, for sure. Avalanche
These
Scholar
cards you should get quite late.
Yeah. What do you think of Blizzard Brawl? Is that a playable card in a white-green creature deck?
Maybe, if you're a big creature deck.
Right. But not in the token deck, I assume?
No, definitely not. No, you want to have your honey mammoths.
I agree.
Whatever they are called nowadays.
Agree. There's a bind a monster here. I think that's a fair include. At least one is, right?
You can afford to. I mean, I think that bind a monster is just so much better early game, because you want to use it on small creatures. You don't want to use it on their 8/8.
No, correct.
Unless you play some kind of live game. I think that this is a card that you want to play on the 2/2s, on the 3/2s. Take 3 damage and switch it off permanently.
Yeah, be done with it.
This is actually great to play on the Ice Height Troll. That's where you want to play it on.
Yeah, be aware of your opponent having 4 open snow mana though.
Yeah. Agreed.
That would wreck you. Okay.
Oh, and there is one small thing that Jorn's other side in the late game can be amazing in this deck.
I can't bring it up here, but maybe we can quickly bring it up.
Oh, it's a 1 black blue artifact, and then you can tap and until end of turn you can play a snow permanent from your graveyard.
Right, let me...
So basically more card advantage. I guess that Yorn is not so great when you already played all your spells. If you draw it late, you can play it as an artifact and basically rebuy everything that you...
Ooh, that's sweet.
Isn't it?
It
That's
is.
just perfect because Yorn is super strong early and super strong late as the stuff, which you normally wouldn't be able to play in a 2-color deck, but because here you play multiple colors, that's no problem.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Awesome. Any last words to add to this one?
Well, just make sure that you get enough snowlands.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid point. Maybe quickly looking at the archetype in...
You see, I mean, so we can look at the stats, of course. That's not a problem. But I think that evaluation for this deck is just so much different than evaluation of the cards at vacuum. This is where, the simple grades are just not doing their job.
Fully agree. Here, this is where the synergy grades come around. Oh, I missed. I missed more. How is this called? Morich? How would you pronounce this?
I can't read it. Even with my glasses, I can't see that small a text.
It's the uncommon. The blue
Is
green.
it the Moriette?
Moriette, right? That's probably a better pronunciation than the one I gave it. It's the changeling one.
My Swedish is rudimentary, but
why was this missing from your skeleton there, Sierkovitz?
just so many, because I wanted to showcase the fact that it's a multicolor deck.
Fair enough.
I think it's a fine include, and I think that you're going to get it quite easily as well, and especially when you have things to copy. Like if you have the Icier Manipulator and you can get a second one, why not?
Okay.
Or if you have good creatures that you want to copy, it's a fine card. I just think that the other ones are just better, because one of them is just a constantly recurring threat for 3 mana, and the Troll is just an engine of generating snow permanents and engine of card draw in the late game. I mean, I think it's just doing... They are sort of self-included, and this one requires help from having other cards. And I would always pick something that can do everything on its own rather than something that requires help from the other cards.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I notice Alex giving Blizzard Brawl a 4, which translates to a B. I think that's mainly due to it only being 1 CMC, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's well, when Prey Upon is 1 mana, and Prey Upon is not a B.
Right. So here we are assuming that we are mostly going to have 3 snow permanents then.
I think that he gave it a grade for a snow deck, yeah.
Okay. No, that's fair. I can see it being a B in a heavy snow deck. But we talked about it having it in the Celestia deck, for example, and I don't think it's that good in that type of deck within this set.
I mean, it can be good when you can trade, and you need to push that last damage. But I mean, I probably would play it in the white-green deck because there's just not so much removal in there.
Yeah, right. And you
and
can
I
always
would try to get, and I would try to get my snow permanents into my white-green deck, especially that the white-green snowlands should be only picked probably by the... No, maybe a snow deck would, but you should have a better chance of picking your white-green snowlands, and then maybe you can... Plains should be quite easy to pick because even snow decks don't want plains.
Right, if you're lucky
no
and a couple
chaos
of snow plains are open, then I can see this
And
card working.
then once in a while it becomes a very good spell. So
yeah, and Fatfo's in chat also mentioned that plain Prey Upon would just be a C probably. I agree.
yeah,
I think that's definitely the case.
and that's probably how you should evaluate it when you play it without snow permanents.
Yeah, agreed.
Is it snow permanents or snow lands?
Snow permanents actually. So
which is good because you can play a couple of snow permanent creatures outside of snow decks. I think that the 2/2 is serviceable if you need a 2/2 for 2 mana.
Yeah.
And you have 1 snow land.
How does that work if you Glittering Frost a land? Then you have the enchantment, which is a snow permanent. And the land
The
is
land becomes
also a
snow.
snow permanent, so that counts for 2 snow permanents at that point, right?
Yeah.
That is sweet.
This is why this enchantment is so great. It gives you 2 snow permanents just like that. It gives you 2 snow mana just like that.
Right, I can see why this is the second best green common.
And with the untapper elf, it gives you 4 mana. So yeah.